A plan for problem solving 1-1. In this lesson, you learn to solve problems using the 4-step plan. Graph shows the number of years it took from the time a new technology was invented for it to be in one half of all U.S. homes. And what year was a telephone in one half of U.S. homes? Okay, look at this graph right here. It will show you a graph of the number of years it took a new technology was invented to be in one half of all United States homes. Okay, so television took 8 years. Okay, for it to be in one half of all U.S. homes. VCR 13 years. Personal computer or the PC introduced in 1975, 24 years. Cable TV 39 years, and the telephone was just introduced in 1876, 70 years to be in all one half homes. Okay, the question we're asking is in what year was the telephone in one half of all U.S. homes? We'll try to solve that in example 1. You know the answer already. Keep that to yourself, and we'll move on. Okay, so there is a thing called the 4-step plan which you can use to solve word problems such as this one. Okay, in the 4-step plan, these are the steps that we will use: explore, plan, solve, and examine. First step is explore, and if you look at explore, it just simply asks you to read the problem carefully and ask yourself questions like, what facts do I know, and what do I need to find out? This is probably the most important thing that you need to understand in the 4-step plan. What do I need to find out? Because this will tell you what the problem is asking for. Okay, from there we move on, and let's plan how to solve the problem. See how the facts relate to each other after reading the problem, after finding out what the facts are. See how they are related to each other, and then you create a plan for solving the problem. And the best way to do that and trying to find out an answer to your problem is you try to estimate the answer first. Again, plan, see how the facts relate to each other, make a plan, and then estimate the answer. The third step for solving a word problem is solve, of course, and then by using your plan from step number 2, okay, use your plan to be able to solve the problem. If your plan does not work, revise it or make a new plan. And this is where work comes in. You should show your work so that you can see where you went wrong if you don't get the correct answer. And finally, the last step in this problem is the examine part. Examine part is simply checking to see if your answer makes sense. You need to reread the problem. Ask, is my answer close to my estimate? Ask, does my answer make sense for the problem? If not, solve the problem another way. So these are the 4 basic steps in trying to solve a word problem. Okay, and let's see how that works in example number 1. Remember example, we are asking in what year was the telephone in one half of all U.S. homes? Okay, and let's go back to that graph and just recall what the graph looks like. And this is how the graph looks like. Okay, so you have your bar graph, and then we'll answer example number 1. And this is example number 1. Explore. The graph states that the telephone was invented in 1876 and that it took 70 years until one half of U.S. homes had a telephone. You need to find the year when one half of the U.S. homes had a telephone. Okay? Solve this problem. Add the number of years it took until one half of the U.S. homes had a telephone to the year the telephone was invented. So, we know that the year the telephone was invented was 1876. Okay? And we add the number of years until one half of U.S. homes had a telephone, which is 70. Okay, and this brings us to 1876 plus 70 will give us 1946. Therefore, by 1946, one half of U.S. homes had a telephone. And if we check our answer, we subtract 70 from 1946, we end up with 1876. So the answer is correct. So in 1946, 1/2 of all U.S. homes had a telephone. Okay? Example number 2, Tyler delivers newspapers each weekday. If Tyler works every weekday for 1 year, how many days does he work? Okay, let's find out what we know in the explore part. You know that Tyler delivers newspapers each weekday. You need to find out how many days Tyler works in a year. And this is right here, okay, tells us what we need to find out. You need to find out how many days Tyler works in 1 year. And that's what the problem is asking for. So we try to plan how to solve this problem. And plan to solve this problem, we multiply the number of weekdays in a week, which is 5, by the number of weeks in a year, which is 52, to find the number of days Tyler works in a year. Okay? And then we solve it. Number of weekdays in each week is 5, multiplied by number of weeks in 1 year, which is 52. In 1 year, Tyler works 260 days. And to be able to check our answer in the examen, there are 2 weekend days each week, so Saturday and Sunday. So in a year, there are 2 times 52, or 104 weekend days. And then if we get 144, okay, subtract it from 365, we end up with 261. The answer is reasonable. Question I want to ask you is why don't the number of weekend days and weekdays add up to 365? Okay, let me know tomorrow when you make your summary and write it down in your notebook, and tell me why don't the number of weekend days and weekdays add up to 365. Okay, I expect the answer tomorrow, and we are done. So create a summary on what you've learned by responding to the objectives of the lesson. Remember, you need to create it on Google Forms that I will email to you, or I already emailed to you, and type a question you might want to ask in class about this lesson. Okay? Thank you.